Lotus being one of those maps that has quickly snuck into, I guess, the norm when talking about, Scholastic Esports in the scene of Valorant. In the past, it's been, Haven, Ascent, and Bind, but as Lotus has become a lot more friendly with teams, I feel like we've seen, I'd say this be the go-to map for a lot of teams. And, I don't blame them. When you look at a map like Lotus, it leaves so much up to opportunity when it comes to experimenting on this with, I guess, the ebb and flow of the map. But there is a set meta, but it doesn't look like we're going to be following that, as I already see a Fade and an Astra locked in.
Yeah, listen, I'll be honest though, you can definitely run the Astra here. Or excuse me, the Fade here. A lot of teams I have seen kind of work with that. I don't think it's bad whatsoever. It's just kind of two different ideas of how to approach the map. The Sky obviously gives you a ton of information when you're talking Guiding Light and Trailblazer, and that's why it's been so popular. The Fade, on the other hand, it does allow you. CC is maybe the wrong word. I feel like the Nightfall is a little bit different than a normal CC, but particularly the Prowler and that Haunt can give you some of the similar information whilst having some more of that CC ability.
And, with the recent changes to Sky, I'm not really surprised to see Sky start to move out of the meta. I mean, I feel like they want to get Sky out of the meta. Riot Games wants their God Vincent. So with, seeing a little bit of fade here on Lotus, with seeing a little bit of fade here on Lotus, maybe we will be seeing a lot more teams in the, the coming days or the coming months of Valorant, kind of move away from that Sky pick into something different for the initiators. So really interested on what we could get going with the fades on both sides of here. Differences being a Chamber coming out on Chow, as well as the Omen versus the Astra head-to-head.
I think Omen Astra, it's a playstyle situation, and particularly with how easily coordinated the Astra utility can be with, for example, the Raze. That's part of the reason that you want to utilize that. Not to mention just post-plant utility. It's great. Gravity Well, that Nova Pulse, all that kind of stuff is fantastic to utilize. The big question mark for me is Chow on that Chamber. It's an aggressive pick, and I think it's really effective on this map. We know from past situations how good it can be. The real question mark is it going to be good enough here today? You're losing out on that other Sentinel and how strong Killjoy is on Lotus. That's a big thing to lose out.
It is a very big thing to lose out on for sure. But hey, we saw the Euro pick back on Ascent. Now the Chamber pick on Lotus. I remember Chamber all the way back from Lock-In in Brazil being brought out by Cloud9. Everybody thought it was going to be the greatest thing ever. Quickly made its way out. I mean, it has its time here on Lotus, but it's been a while since we've seen Chamber on a map like this. But we do know the potential that Chamber can have here. So will we be able to see it unfold here? Answer so far has been nothing, but does look like a quick push all the way in from A-Link. Neek with the bomb or the spike in hand finds that first kill on 2. Nem looking for a little bit more. Neek lines up 3. Stormtroop able to get one back, and Red drops the spike for the 2 versus 3. They need to respect these numbers.
Man, Neek doing so much work there, and plant going down. G-Dizzy catching Red, not even looking the right direction, worried too much about the plant, or, well, the lack thereof. Now Stormtroop, the last left for the Knights.
Yeah, Stormtroop already with one in the round. Swaps over towards the Ghost, but the jumping right click still. Chow falls to the hands of this Fade and will be held in turn for a moment. Time ticking away on the spike. The reposition up above. J-Dizzy just needs to play off of this, and swinging together with 31 HP. This should be all said and done. Reckless puts it away in the first round.
It's all on Neek, getting started so strong, getting those couple of kills, and honestly, a little bit of a mistake, I think, from Evanston just lining up there. They were doing the right thing, or at least the ideal was correct, trying to just find that trade kill, but unfortunately, losing out the free gun, by the way. That classic.
Incredible.
I actually love how, I meme it to death, but I love how effective you can feel with just a classic. It makes every round interesting. And not in a way that's overpowered anymore.
No, but you look back to when you can jumping right-click somebody around a corner, and maybe the Classic was a little bit overtuned at once, but yeah, no, I do
maybe
like
a little
the
bit.
fact that the Classic has a little bit of, I guess, punch to it.
It's got a niche.
Yeah, it does have a niche quite a bit, but right now we got to see if this retake can come off the back of a stinger that has been recovered. Still numbers for the defense, and them leading the way back in, but caught by P-Killa and the Spectre. Neek lines up too, and Jay Dizzy's going to be able to put it away, so no Thrifty round coming out in round number 2. I loved the idea of pushing all the way through B, just flooding one of these 3 lanes as the defense. It really isolated a couple of these members, but it's hard to retake after you lose that C site.
There.
Yeah, C site, one of the, especially coming from the mound side of things, one of the most difficult to be making that retake for. So this will be a bonus round, keeping in mind Independence, they are keeping only the lesser weaponry. They have no rifles, even Chow on just a Classic, though that's going to be a headhunter, to be fair.
There.
Have a couple of bullets to work with. Not as strong as it once was, but still a very deadly piece of equipment.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing that standard play from the defensive side to start out, right? Evanston worried about rubble control, worried about root, and trying to lock out the entirety of Independence from getting some of this A-long control.
So far, it's so good for Krish, but falling off this angle very fast, and it hasn't been given up from the likes of Independence at all, or sorry, Evanston. So these attackers now going to smoke off A, hit their way through a link. Nem immediately falls off. The fault line might give away back in, but the dark cover is allowing this spike some free passage.
It's one way to do it. One way to find the space. This B site, so difficult to hold on the retake. Let's be real, but in a round like this where your weaponry isn't what it should be, it's oh so possible, though it's not looking likely anymore. No. All the close range angles entirely devastated.
And I like all angles get checked out. No rushing back into it for Independence at all. They know they have the better weapons, Vincent. They take their time, and they use these Vandals effectively. So that is a wonderful retake coming out onto B with those Vandals.
And it can often be difficult to not overextend or overcommit yourself to taking control out at A root, for example, or at C mound, or even at pillars towards the B site. What I think was well played there by Evanston is knowing when to fall back away, when to allow that space to be given up, and then when to re-engage. Having a 5v5 for the retake on B, it's one way to find success.
Into round number 4. Rifles in the hands now of both teams. Krish, flash out coming out. Chow, what a shot there. Krish doesn't even know what hit him. Losing out on your raise right away. That A site has fallen. But I don't know.
Backup.
I don't know if Evanston are going to be able to recognize this right away.
And they're sprinting, running as quickly as possible to get into the position. But, yeah, like you say, no way to actually deny this plant. For the moment, P-Killa will put it down, but that's an equalizer.
Yeah, 4 versus 4. Unfortunately, them guys go down, so not able to hold those numbers for too long. Slowly burning their way back into it. Layering the utility to slow things down, but still Stormtroop finds an angle. 3 versus 3. All members on the attack now within this post-plant spread out, and P-Killa just denying a way back in from Independence. So the Knights get forced out once more here by these attackers. Losing out on these sites so quickly are proving to be devastating.
Stormtroop in red just queuing up there, walking through the link from B towards A. That was the right play. Unfortunately, P-Killa just taking fight after fight from tree. And nobody could find a trade anywhere to be seen. Previous round, a bonus that was lost. This one, the full buy in Independence, showing that they are doing very well when it comes to that full weaponry at their disposal. At least one gun saved. That's a plus for Evanston. Means that they're still doing all right, but economy starting to falter, especially if a continuous loss into this round comes forth.
Krish once again going to tee up his paint shells. And again, one thing I do love from this Evanston team, Vincent, is the patience they show at the start of rounds. They wait for the utility, and then they take the space.
Yeah, speaking of utility, look at how stacked up it is over at C. Just every single star, every bit of that Killjoy util, with the exception of the bot, all there ready to go. Hunt doesn't quite find anything, but all of the audio cues, getting a bunch of confirmation of where these attackers are located.
This is the third time we've seen that route over through Link into B. Krish gonna fall here on the defense, though. Red calls back for a two-piece. Red now pushing on in. The full collapse from these defenders, and it's Nem to continue here with numbers. Backed up into A-Link. Stormtroop, the shots hit. 1 versus 2. Classic in hand, but 44 HP. Curly Fry's just gonna hold this one. Jay Dizzy doesn't have the help. The boom bot, I love the idea, but it's just not enough. And defenders gonna be able to take all the weapons away from this attacking team. They might be giving up this B site, but their retake is looking fantastic.
Gotta remember the change to the blast pack. Those satchels, remember, no longer do damage unless they are fully activated. They are, if you activate it early, it doesn't do the damage that it used to. Not that it would have made the biggest difference in that last round, but the small things, the details that matter. Well, Evanston getting them right there. Retake towards B seems to be a strength of theirs.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on that. It's back towards the A site.
It's not even something that you have to notice. The third time we've seen it, the second time it's failed.
Right there.
Nightfall, Rolling Thunder, and from the shadow for these attackers. And it looks like the Nightfall is going to be the way out, but look at this. He's got the lockdown, the Rolling Thunder, and the same exact ults to bring it back, so Stormtroop just has to stay alive here and drop. And here's the ult to bring it back. Krish finds Neek. No more controller for Evanston. And it looks like they just want to race their way back in. Krish finds 3. Trades still continue to keep us even, but with Jay Dizzy getting that kill. 2 versus 3 now, 1 versus 3. P-Killa, the Guardian hand, good for 1. Flash out, and the swing. P-Killa just looking to hold on as best as he can, but the Aftershock is the tool that's going to force them out into the open, and Curly Fry happy to take the fight. In the one-on-one, the Vandal prevails. And it is going to be these defenders. Indy equalizing 3 apiece inside of Lotus.
Back and forth we swing, it seems, and everything's starting to go swimmingly for the defense of this Independence High School. I will say, I love the way that they held on to some of those ultimates. It would have been easy to layer the Nightfall alongside the Rolling Thunder, but just put the Nightfall into use and took the fights together, ensuring that they could trade out. And despite, by the way, really successful defense there from P-Killa, did well with the utility, split them up, still doesn't come away.
Your rounds have been so quick, so close.
That's 5, man.
Thunder.
Everyone caught. Not a single player escaping. What B hit? No hit coming. At least not yet.
Yeah. That's going to bring us maybe back over towards A, and look at the way that the Knights have kind of called this one. They've completely fallen off. It's only Stormtroop here. All 5 members going to be running into this fade, and I don't know if Stormtroop is really going to be ready for this one. The Prowler should give it away, but the flash out. Knee catches this fade off guard, and that's a Vandal recovered.
Phenomenal flashpoint. Gets him right into position, and now Krish is in a similar situation. A showstopper. That's one way to win a 1v1. I have Big Bomb, you do not.
And the satchel just to give way to that. A little bit of a jump scare. So 4v4 advantage. Now to Indy with the lockdown. You lose so much space on site, and I love the way that the Knights are taking this one. Happy to gain this space. Fault line on the red. Rolling Thunder gets it to half, but Chow, reckless. 4 versus 2 now.
Chow caught.
Kills, and Chow gets caught by the lockdown, but it might be a little bit of false sense of security. Nem pushing into the Sheriff. Nem finds 1. Now all alone. 1 versus 2. The spike is at half, so he has time to work with, but And still, the Prowler's going to catch him. Chow should have the kill. And what a round coming out from our attackers. It is a thrifty.
Evanston putting it together. Absolutely absurd scenes as well. Those adjustments, the callback from the fast B hit, I was expecting them to just straight up showstopper right in there. But no, held on to all the utility, waited for the Rolling Thunder, baited it out, in fact. And then walked back over to A, finding trades, and then great work on the Rolling Thunder. Everything working well for Evanston there in the late round, playing the trades effectively.
Red got so much information there on the shoulder peak. I'd like to see these two just fall away with only classics in hand. There's not much they can do. The Killjoy Util should be able to hold them at bay for a
Look at the
short
B
little
pillar
while.
push.
But the B pillar push has a Vandal in their hands.
What an adjustment! Running straight back through the C door, and it's easy to get back towards the site, but they still have to deal with these pillar players.
Fortunately, Chris finds that kill, but Chris needs to find a little bit more now that Red has fallen. Might feel that Evanston are trapped on the inside, but with this Vandal, it's still a little bit better. Nice flick at a Reckless. 3 versus 3, low HP at a Reckless, but to say the exact same at an M and Krish, 1 versus 2 for Neek. Caught
no.
the full line, the paint shells, Vincent. They hit the mark, and Krish with a hero Vandal into this thrifty round. Keeps things back and forth between these two teams.
Oh my goodness, that information play, so fantastic from the B pillars. Just getting that forward position, and I mean the bigger problem is how and why would Evanston ever be checking that? They had no clue they were getting flanked to that degree. Gives some space to work with. Back over to Indy, and I feel like at this point, this game could go either way.
I mean, that is, again, another time where they just think they can make these quick adjustments over towards B, and they almost trap themselves every single time, Vincent. So Evanston, I mean, they obviously have a strategy cooked up for Lotus that just has not seen any success in this game.
The B site, such a fickle mistress. Getting on that site, easiest in the game almost.
Holding it, though.
Getting that post plant, that's a whole different story.
Yeah. I like the idea. It's just, it's not an easy one, as we've seen, to really accomplish.
I mean, there's a reason that you don't see the B hit come through a lot of times unless you have a lockdown for the post plant or some other key piece of ultimate utility.
So whether or not we see that B hit yet again in this half is, I guess, to be determined, but I think I'm sitting on the side of, I don't want to see it. Stick to A and C. So Sheriff here for P-Killa. Nem has seen it. Flashpoint backs away, looking to hold these angles, drops down. Nem wants to fight this. Neek looking to get the plants out. Chaos now on site. But Nem gonna strike first. Reckless quick to trade.
It's that space, though, when you're making first contact from heaven, it's bad news if you're the defense, and Independents now have to do it on the retake.
Jay Dizzy. That's the showstopper gone. 2 out of 4 is going to have no eyes in.
Okay.
Krish deals with Chow considerably early. Neek with the push through. Right through the Cosmic Divide. Reckless looking to do the exact same. Now it has to be Neek. 1v2. Stormtroop around the outside. It is another round from Indy, taking them back into the lead on their defense.
Come on, please.
This is fantastic from them on the retake. Consistent as ever. It's been so fantastic. Particularly talking about the B site, but the A site as well, as we just saw the way that they've been able to take their time and not overcommit. I talked about how late their confirmation of the A hit is. When you're taking first contact at A from heaven, usually that means things have probably gone a little bit wrong, but that wasn't the case.
No, it wasn't.
Plan from the beginning. Just to take that fight, maybe take a shot, then fall back away, play for the retake. Successful.
You can always count these teams to keep these rounds neck and neck, Vincent. I mean, operator now for Krish misses the mark, and can't get away. The satchel's not good enough, and it looks like we're about to kick this up a notch here. All the way up to 10, all gas, no brakes, but Nem slowly looking to ice them. Showstopper all the way up top. Lovely movement coming out of Jay's Dizzy, but the ultimate finds only space.
A little bit of damage done to Stormtroop, sure, but getting back in, that's the tough part. This pace change is working brilliantly for Reckless as well. Taking steps control, suddenly things are all bad for Independence.
Jay Dizzy has dropped Stormtroop on 30 HP from that Showstopper. Nem's going to drop inside, and that isolates him completely separate from this fade. A little bit off the mark. Mistiming this retake completely. And Evanston, they're okay with that. They welcome them with open arms, and they meet them head on.
Yeah, and as frustrating as it is, as small as the room for error was, that early missed shot from Krish really making life difficult for the Independence defense. Whenever you have that op in position, it's critical that you have someone to get them out of there in case a missed shot comes through, because you can't stick around behind that box. That is paper thin, Seymour. No world in which you get out with 5 Vandals shooting you through.
They walk away with 3. Jay Dizzy quick to take Mound. Only classics in the hand of Curly Fry, but why is the Astra the one in this spot? Now no smokes to worry about, and the Showstopper from Chris going to be invested. Does find one, but Chris now just has to stay alive.
Massive that Chris gets away. How the heck do they get out of there? Absurd.
Oh, Red's back. Okay. Thought for a second this was going to be a 4-on-4 without the Killjoy, which would have been a 3v4 retake, but Chris low on HP. Rolling Thunder at the ready for Nem, but he's going to be the first one to walk through. Nem finds that kill. Paranoia is going to cut off Krish from helping out the rush, and Chow is picking them apart. 2 individual kills, leaving a 2 versus 2, but you look at the health pool of Krish. Reckless just needs to spray them down, and with the time out of the hands of Stormtroop, it is just a matter of time before Evanston takes back their lead here on Lotus, and you can see Stormtroop running to the hills to make sure this Phantom stays alive.
Yeah, but this was a thrifty round, barely an investment made there by Independence High School. They didn't really buy into this too much, and they got a lot done with what little they had. Sure, a Showstopper was part of that equation, but impressive nonetheless as we head into the final round for the second half. Yeah, let's see a tied game.
Another back and forth situation. The possibilities for a 6-6 half, the possibilities for a 7-5 half, both are about a 50-50 right now in my minds, because each round has come down to a 2 versus 1 or a 1 versus 1. It has not been a very decisive game so far. And again, they're going to set up for the smoke and the dark cover that leads in towards B-Link. They're going to hit this B site yet again.
Yeah, I mean, all part of the plan, I guess. There is the Nightfall available to hold back any further onslaught, and if they get those initial kills just like that, then there's a chance.
Rolling Thunder along with the Nightfall, but a little bit ahead of the curve is Nem. 1 by 1 they drop. Curly Fry alone, and a 7-5 half secured from Evanston.
Switching sides.
Off of a flawless finish there. Absorbing all the aggression that the Indy Knights thought they could throw at them.
And I think, I'm not certain, but I think the key bit of utility is the Paranoia Neek through. I think got 3 players coming in from heaven. That was what changed the tide. They thought they had the advantage with the Nightfall. No, all blind. Couldn't see a single thing. So 7-5 half. Not bad. Both squads relatively happy about that outcome.
I genuinely think you can look at this from the side of our Indy Knights and definitely give a little bit of a favor to them. With how offensive sided this is, we need to kind of have a little bit of a litmus test on what their offense looks like, but 5 rounds on defense is a fantastic way to look at Lotus.
Chris is so lucky to be alive. A dark cover bailing them out. Got caught. Full rotation as well. Moves being made by Independence. Now towards A.
Red.
Red has done so much work, though. Yes, Red falls, but look at the map. Nobody's at A. Not even close to it.
Oh, but a ruse right there. A-Link's going to be opened up. It looks like they want to flood. Couple players here to hopefully stop this. Krish is going to find the equalizer. Reckless goes down. No more fade. And Nem just looking to hold on to this A-Link door. So Nem's going to go for 1-on-1 yet again. 3 versus 3 with a spike down. Time now in favor of Indy. P-Killa's going to be spotted. Krish tucked away in the corner with the ghost. Neek on low HP. Same with P-Killa, but still Neek lands those shots to the classic. Early fly tucked away into the tree. 1v3. Oh no! The gravity well from Curly Fry, expecting JDZ to stick the defuse, not anticipating the aggression. And that is going to be Evanston off of a successful attacking side with a lead, pushing this lead a little bit further now.
Yeah, incredibly well played. And I think that just a knowledge of where and what the win conditions are. Hey, there's one player left. No reason to sit on that spike. No reason to hang out and maybe die just holding a defuse. Instead, take the fight together. That's exactly what they did. Not seeing too much of an investment from the Texas squad coming into this round. The Marshall in Krish's hands, but otherwise it's El Clasico across the board.
Yeah. I love that. Chow goes down. Okay, I'm listening.
I said there's a nation. Welcome to it. 5 bodies running at you. Classic's a deadly weapon.
And now Stinger going to be there for Nem. How good has Nem been for
Incredible.
Indy? That's going to be a spike plant, a post plant setup, and a little bit of aggression being shown from Curly Fry. Again, comes out to bite them all, but the bait for Nem to find 4. They know exactly where P-Killa is. And it should be a shot in the back, possibly a knife. Don't do it to him.
Absolutely do it to him.
Oh, don't do it to him.
Oh, yeah.
Red's going to get the stab in the back in a thrifty round in the second half.
Nim out here letting that dog bark, and I'm here for it. Quick and easy. Just pick up the pace, make the changes, and overwhelm with the bodies. It's a very simple strategy, but one that, as we just saw, works oh too well. Especially when you can close the distance quickly enough.
That's the best thing that I like to see with a team that has classics, Vincent. Group together and run at them. I mean, they can't shoot all of you.
In theory, exactly. And then sometimes they do, and I'm incredibly sad. But this is looking like a eco of similar proportions.
What?
That's the right click, by the way. Curly Fry will eventually get the trade. Neek.
Rotations are already here, too. So you got to be extremely careful, Jay Dizzy. Oh, unfortunately, the shots on the Sheriff do not land. Reckless has found his way out towards Waterfall, Vincent, but now it's all down to Chow, who has made his position known. The Nebula is going to be brought back up, and this should be a very simple cleanup, bringing us to a 1-round deficit. Chow 134 HP. Nem's going to put it away with a 3K. Back-to-back banger rounds coming out from Nem, Vincent, and a 1-round deficit.
Yeah, this is Nem stepping up massively for the squad, giving Evanston a real run for their money. Love to see that, but this is where things get a little bit dicey. That last round, that was easy mode, Seymour. Not so difficult when you're just dealing with classics, I say. Maybe not so fairly, but we get into this one. You got Vandals, Phantoms. No operator to speak of yet, but it's early days.
Where are you?
Very early days.
Not sure about that haunt.
It definitely doesn't really accomplish too much, but
Well,
this
that
Rolling
will.
Thunder should be able to, you know, patch those holes, Vincent. So heading in towards the site, the paint shells land. Reckless caught high and dry, and immediately the pivot back to A. Red getting all of the information for the team that this real estate is as free as could be.
Yeah, just walking straight through. Red has the space for days, and even Jay Dizzy, who is anticipating the maneuver, can't do a darn thing about it. This is A site there. Spike, sure, not down, but a 3-on-5. How shall they bring this back? seemingly impossible given the numbers, and those numbers are only going in the negative direction. Sees catches P-Killa as well.
Chow, however, has a little bit to fight for here. 1 versus 4, 5 HP, and seems like he is a little bit distressed. Tucked away and dropped. Oh, just barely looking to maybe pull another rifle out of these hands. It's not going to happen, Vincent. Not at all. Nem's not going to let that go any farther down the drain. So 8-8, we go tied on Lotus. Indy have completely clawed their way back. And in that round, I do want to highlight it. The differences that we're seeing from the Indy attacking side compared to what we got from Evanston, instead of the wrap in towards B, the full wrap over towards A proving a lot more significant.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you pointed it out. It's also the setup for that wrap. The Rolling Thunder, the one crucial bit of utility available to them in the last round, and they put it to use at C. Not only that, but the paint shells to get the confirmation onto the elbow player. Just great work comboing up bits and pieces of the kit.
Okay, so maybe we're taking a little bit of a page out of the book of Indy's defense. Full 5 wrap from B. On the flank, Xiao's going to land a shot with the Headhunter,
Okay.
but at range, you might favor these Vandals. But again, those Sheros, all they need to do is click on the head. As easy as that, Vincent. So Jay Dizzy might be low on health, but this has been a very expensive round. And now Neek has a Vandal. The Dark Cover's going to block off Tree. Both of these members backed up.
It's a big haunt, though.
Stormtrooper is going to be able to get all the information with that haunt. The players are just behind it. Nem pushes out Neek in the 1v1. Stormtroop all the time in the world to worry about this one. But the Dark Cover keeps Neek into it. He gets it to half.
No time, maybe. It's awful close. Oh, but he's got it. Less than a second to spare. Absurd.
What?
Stack him up. That's the plan. We just saw it work for the second time this half. Not quite classics. This was Sheriff's, that Headhunter as well, getting involved. And you mentioned the range. It should be advantageous to those Vandals, but unfortunately, with the Sheriffs in hand, just hit the shots, and that is all that matters.
I mean, at the end of the day, it is a shooter game.
That's true. That'll do it. Well, not quite the lead for Indy. This Texas squad thought maybe they would have it, but denied by Evanston.
Splits off a setup.
What a seize.
For the spike, but yeah, the C's denying value from the showstopper. So the spike should be planted for Mound, and that's where these hero rifles should have, or that's where these rifles have the best impact. With Jay Dizzy flying his way through the Cosmic Divide, stops that spike from getting planted and allows a way back in for the full collapse. Nick, Chow, Nem, all alone, back of sight. It's all down to Curly Fry. Was yet to make his position known. 1v2 now for Curly Fry to clutch up at range. 55 seconds. Neither of these members needs to give Curly Fry the time of day, and the Dark Cover is going to force this Astra through the choke. Nebula goes down. Curly Fry gets traded out, and Evanston seems to have stabilized on their defense.
Yes, they have. 1, 2, and 3 into the site. That Cosmic Divide, you thought it would provide coverage, and you can see how safe they thought that it was. I don't even remember who it was, but knife out straight towards that site to try and re-grab the spike, and instead it goes down at the worst of times. Phenomenal job from Neek especially, who led the charge on that retake. 2 rounds in a row, momentum starting to swing in the favor of the defense. We're going to get the tour de force. So finally an op, but it's more of an ability for the defenders.
Face your fear!
Oh, nice ball. So the first one in, and then get rid of that. I was going to say, they get rid of the chamber util, but what they really have to worry about is Neek, who just walked straight through the Dark Cover. Fortunately for Indy, they are losing members so early on, and Red getting caught out over towards A. I know it worked in the past, but that A-Link, or that A-Lurk, immediately getting swept under the rug, and that brings us all the way back to see it. Chow, the only member of defense with this sort of force, misses the shot. That lets a way in for Indy to hopefully overwhelm this chamber. Reckless goes down. Chow still alive. And Curly Fry may have gotten the biggest two-piece so far of the map.
Oh, that key for Neek to stay alive, actually. Oh, the fault line is so perfect. Served up on a silver platter. Pete Killa says, here you go. Easy mode when they're stunned and can't shoot back, at least not the automatic way. 11-8. This has been, what a crazy comeback. Even though it wasn't from far behind or anything, momentum was there for Independence. They had everything in the first of this second half, and now they're the ones up against a brick wall.
Indy, they lose the pistol, but they thrifty round number 2.
And
they put 3 rounds in a row to tie us up 8 apiece, but...
what is it that brings Evanston back? It's a thrifty of their own.
Yeah. And that kind of sends, I think, Indy in a little bit of chaos. Now, Rolling Thunder back over with C. Chow on a crossfire, but Reckless avoids the ultimate and pops off for 2.
It's incredible, but this trade from Nim, it cuts it to a 3-on-3. From the shadows is available. Love to see that used for information gathering. Look how far forward these attackers are.
Curly keeps this one even.
1 enemy remaining.
Paranoia not going to dissuade us at all. Neb's going to be caught with the aftershock, but Neek is alone in the corner. The trade just needs to be there, and Curly Fry has awoken in the semifinal. This Astra seemed to have a little bit of a trouble at the start of Lotus, but slowly working their way into the game.
Curly Fry, the best fries for a reason. That's for sure.
Definitely top 3.
That's just not fair. Top 1, and it's not even close.
I mean, I'm just saying, Vincent, it's top 3, and these 3 fries are literally side by side.
Well, a couple more rounds required for Independence.
You're not going to put curly fries, smiley fries, and waffle fries on the same level.
Smiley fries? What are those? I don't even know what that is. What I do know is that this lockdown leading the charge for Nim to just have a shooting gallery.
Yeah, Nem. That's all he's really needed to do for this team. Judge, jury, and executioner when it comes down to this role. And now I love this aggression over towards Spawn, denying any way back in from Evanston.
How terrifying.
Flashes his way through, but the firing squad is here, and it's Neek. 1v5 makes it into a 1v3, makes it into a 1v2. 41 HP, 2 dark covers, a paranoia.
He's got it all.
All the utility that you need. Taps it away. Nobody's going to fall for it just yet.
What?
And the time drains away. Goes back in. So that second call has to be it. The spam throw, 7 HP.
No.
You can't let him hit it. And yeah, no chance for Neek in the 1v5. He makes it close. Definitely uncomfortable for Indy. But a win is a win at the end of the day. 10-11 we stand.
That was terrifying. Giving Neek those 1v1s is never a good idea. This guy can absolutely deliver in the clutch. We've already seen it time and time again. And nearly able to do it there once more. An interruption of 3 rounds, but back to business for Independence. I don't know what's changed, but Nim grabbing 2 opening picks on the B or on the C site does absolutely help out.
So on their way back in, Indy not giving up. Sheriffs, we saw how good these were in the past. This time, Jay Dizzy gets cleaned up right away. Reeling his way to the back of sight is going to be P. Killa, but on the fadeaway, barely living. Neek has a cross, Vandal in hand, keeps some trouble in live for Indy. 3 versus 4, and Neek is just not going down. Another kill for Neek. P. Killa surviving with 1 HP, and things falling to pieces for Indy.
The late rotation towards P, not the play with Reckless there to save the day. It's who else but Nim in the 1v3.
Oh, no info on the rest of the players.
Oh, but Spike is recovered. And more bullets now thanks to the grab of that Vandal. 40 seconds to play with. Seymour, there's a lot that could go right here for Nim, particularly with full shields and full HP.
I was going to say, hear me out. Grab the B orb, grab the C orb. 1 kill, 1v1, Rolling Thunder tease you up.
I was on the same page, but looks like just going to make sure to get this spike down. Still only has the fault line. Got to be creative in the way that they're going to use this.
I wouldn't mind seeing the fault line get held, but it
10
seems like it
seconds
wants to delay for the spike to get planted. Players racing to get to the site, and Nem gonna play this on the close angle. The Nightfall, best chance for Nem is to take it head on. You don't want to let them circle you. Unfortunately, it won't be able to land those shots, and we're going to be seeing match point in these grand finals gained by Evanston first.
Indeed. Trying to get into those grands. Tough task, to be sure. But it does seem to me that the way that Evanston approached things, the majority of this half, has been so incredibly strong. But at this point, only 2 rounds between them. I don't think this is a guarantee by any means.
No, I'm right there with you. I don't think I could really...
That's a good spot.
As much as I should be, I don't think I could give this to anybody so far.
Not yet.
Indy have fought their way to Fine 10.
Off your feet!
I don't expect them to give it up just yet. Xiao going to be playing on the counter to this reach ultimate, but none of the shots are landing. Fortunately, Reckless recovers. 2 for 2 trade yet again to get the spike on in. Xiao overwhelmed. The Rolling Thunder back onto site. Jay Dizzy following it up. In the back, it's Krish, but Jay Dizzy loses it 2 versus 1. And this spike is long gone.
A play that we've seen now 4 times or 3 times in this map. That Rolling Thunder out to sea. Teamed up with the Cosmic Divide this time out. Works brilliantly. But P-Killa this time, so much utility.
Yeah, Curly Fry has to get creative.
Spike planted.
Well, with a Nightfall in hand, that's extra bit of utility to work with. There's going to be no question marks about where P-Killa is located once that comes out.
It is a win or go home situation for the Indy Knights. P-Killa can put the nail in the coffin here, and now Aftershock, both flashpoints and the fault line, but it looks like he just wants to swing it right in. Stormtrooper denies it, and we keep going.
Well played and well thought out there from the defense. I mean, Evanston, that was an ideal play. Just try to take the fights. Would run out of utility at the end of the day, but doesn't work out. And guns out for the Knights. And a timeout called. Last chance to do so in regulation. Overtime could be here in this first semifinal. There's that Nightfall still held, ready to roll for Independence.
You go to overtime, Vincent, and what are you thinking? I mean, back and forth rounds where you have to play your defense and your offense, and the defense for Indy, albeit they ended in a disadvantage, 7-5 half, it still was a very, very strong look for them. On the other hand, you're kind of in a similar boat for both sides being a 7-5 half the other way, but I wouldn't say that this defensive side for Evanston has been on par with the same that we've seen from Indy Knights at time. Very scrappy, very clutch for them. It seems like they need these individuals to really rise to the occasion for them to win some of these rounds.
There.
Yeah, as weird as it is to say, considering that Independents are on the back foot here, that they have been, I'm going to use the word struggling just because of how scrappy it's been. I think their attack side has been the better attack side. A little bit, more thought out.
That's a great fault line. Fate Shell's only going to be doing limited. Jay Dizzy and P-Killa, will they be enough to hold this site? Well, nice shot there from Jay Dizzy, and that's going to get rid of Krish right away. Nightfall going to call for the green light, but all the rotations are already here. Chow with the Bulldog going to be able to continue to keep numbers in favor, but Peek's on out, and the trades are there. B-site is not quite open. Stormtroop is just hiding in the shadows. And I like this call from our attackers. P-Killa's going to swing it out. Oh, that could have been a little bit devastating.
Yeah, but it's not what could have been. It's what will be. 3-on-3. And a chance to rotate back out of here.
Reckless
the spike in hand.
Everything.
That's true. And, well, it doesn't even matter. Rotations are already being called. So the question is, will they actually be on the site by the time the take comes through? The haunt going out. It doesn't look like the commitment will be made. Instead, they'll play the time game.
30 seconds left.
Flank through Mount.
Spike
Fault line's going
planted.
to catch the spike planter, and Stormtroop barely stays alive. The
Whoa.
flank gets dealt with. Reckless is out, and it's all down to J Dizzy and P Killa. J Dizzy with the Bulldog recovered. Looking to clutch up, but it's all down to P Killa, and that's not enough. Stormtroop sends us to overtime.
That turn, exactly what it was needed the most from Red. That's exactly what saved the day. Dispatching with Reckless from the flank. That's the deal breaker. That was the information gathering that was there, available. And instead, Independence take us to overtime. No more saving, no more nothing. Now here's a question. Just barely afford an op if you want it. Nobody's gone for it almost at all in the second half. In fact, I don't know if we've seen a purchased operator outside of the Tour de Force.
We saw plenty of op action back on Ascent in our round ones, but no, you're right. In the semifinal, it's just been Xiao in the Tour de Force, and even that wasn't as effective as you'd like to see from a Chamber on Lotus.
Sticking together. This is something that Indy did a whole lot. Now Evanston trying to give them a taste of their own medicine. Slow and steady to get themselves out towards the tree area. Could be an adjustment towards B, but instead the A push.
Really paranoia from Neek, and not even able to gain space off this one. Lovely paint shells being shown in, and Prowler's
What a
going to give
haunt.
away a little bit of information. The haunt in the back.
come on,
Krish, though, living. Reckless not going to check it. Now Neek on the way up. Trades it out. Krish goes down. Flare and drop it. Stormtroop. 3 versus 3. This is as scrappy as you could ask for. Neek just hiding away in the corner. Red gets dispatched of 3 versus 2. Stormtroop has to make some waves here. And if not, it's Curly Fries to hopefully make some distraction. Bait and switch is on board. Boombot into the back. Low ammo for Stormtroop, and it's just down to the Astra. Neek doing good to trade his teammates. And it is going to be Evanston to take the lead in overtime.
Another chance to close it out. Evanston's had a couple of these opportunities, and well, Independence High School, the Texas squad, they've been very good to deliver. They have to do it once again. That back and forth nature of this game starting to come into play more so in overtime. Staying grouped up. That's been the modus operandi for the attack in these last couple of rounds, regardless of who's taking these.
There.
It's definitely not been easy to get here, Vincent, for either of these teams, but for side of Indy is now or never, and they're going to take their shot at B this time.
Back to the B site. Hadn't seen him try this place almost at all the entire attack half. Now they pull it out.
So what does the retake look like for Evanston?
Oh, Krish!
Krish is just going to catch them looking the wrong way. Everything blows up, and the paint shell is back over, slowing down the retake. Chow's going to get caught in the paranoia. Neek needs to make something happen. Prowler giving away the aggression. Stormtroop lovely to spin that one out. A flawless round from Indy. Exactly what the doctor ordered.
And Indy taking, instead of trying to play aggressive forward positions on the site where it's 1-for-1 angles that are the majority of the places that you can be, instead they just evacuate back towards pillars, back towards main, and back towards the A link where Krish just dominated. That was incredible. The double kill, and then the paint shells as well, right onto target. Up against the chamber. Couldn't have called it better. We do it once again. As many chances as Evanston has had to close this game out, they can't deliver.
Oh. Krish is going to find that one, and Nem isn't even needed in this spot. They get their kill, they get out.
Found them.
Red doesn't need to commit to this fight. Great decision making. Red was going to push forward, but instead has fallen back, just playing the numbers game. 5-on-4. Plant down for the time being, but so many players grouped up through Link.
Swing out from Chow. TP's out. Jay Dizzy gonna double down with Curly Fry. Jay Dizzy continuing 3 versus 2. Krish on site. Hoping that a mistake comes his way, and there it is. Out into the open. Showstopper call, but Chow denies it from reaching the air. 1v2. They know exactly where Stormtroop is. And all they need to do is trade out yet again. Stormtroop, the Vandal in hand. Indy looking for their first lead. In towards this back end of the game. Taps away on the spike, but too much to do. And Reckless, it was close. But gives another chance for their team to close it out here in overtime.
Evanston just map points after map points. They have so many opportunities. And they make it work once more. The attack side seemingly unstoppable here in overtime. Consistently finding success, whether it be Independence or Evanston, both of them working well. That last round, a little bit difficult, working from a man disadvantage, and they still found success.
Each of these players, they want to be state champions so bad, and I wouldn't expect anything else, Vincent, of our number 2 and number 3 seed. And it looks like Indy, they're going to be taking a shot at B once again.
Giving it their best shot. And look who else but Krish trying to open up this proceeding.
He gets shot through the
Spike
smoke.
planted.
And now with the spike planted, all they need to do is set up this post plant over towards B main and absorb this aggression for the retake. Chow, Jay Dizzy, everybody going to be on site now. Spike is tapped.
flank.
The big thing to pay attention to is Red flanking from Waterfall. P-Killa, 5 HP. Nem's going to get the job done here, and we go to another overtime. It's going to be our third
Switching sides.
of Lotus.
Overtime.
Again, you just see how well Independence approach holding on to that B site in the post plant. It's one thing or another, whether they're taking space out towards A-Link or finding space at Waterfall. It's crucial for them to find victory, and they do it time and time again. Not something that they even looked at in regulation. It's now critical for their overtime prowess. Evanston so patient, just waiting and watching out at A, hoping to find somebody, making some forward positioning. We've seen that space taken so very often by Krish. But this time, Krish taking Mound, and nobody's there to even spot it out.
Just going to crack the defensive code first. We got the Killjoy set up at A this time. Turret's going to give away tree. Player inside. Inside the Nebula, 2 nanoswarms. Nobody walks in, so no chance to pop this just yet, but hoping that it can maybe feed an avenue over towards B, where in the past, Indy have shown a lot of success for that B retake, but doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Taking a full lap back towards C.
This was the space that was actually gained early by the Rays and given up. Aftershock, that's going to deny the plant for the time being. At least Sneak able to adjust further back. But a 5-on-5. Once again, it's up to the post plant.
That denial stops the spike from getting planted from Mound, so it has to be the hold for the inside. 3 quick kills coming out from Evanston, but we're in a 2 versus 2. The Mound hold, not enough to have eyes on. And no Nebulas here for Curly Fry to work with. Dry Peaks coming out from Reckless at range. It's Nemesis, and it's always been Nemesis to win these fights. Individually stepping up and rising for Indy in so many different times. Indy, they're the first to take a defensive round here in overtime, and this is their first chance to win Lotus.
Yeah, the question of who can win on the defense has been one we've waited so long to determine. And it's also Independence's first opportunity to actually close this out in victory. This is their first map point. First time. So many chances for Evanston, and they couldn't deliver. Now, one to end them all here for Independence.
I say anything you can do, I can do better, and meet them. with a defensive round of their own now. Evanston, this is the first time they've been put in this situation, but Neek goes down.
So massive, the adjustment back towards B. How many times has this been so effective in overtime for the post plant? But they gotta get the spike down first, and that's not been allowed.
Spike down.
Hey, if you ask an answer, it's Chow and P Killer to not allow that spike to get planted, and now racing in towards these gunfights. No way, Nem does it again. Fall line's not gonna connect. Chow on the one-way, 1v2, and they know exactly where Curly Fry is. Doesn't matter how many times defense is going to come away for Indy.
Overtime.
You still
choice. It is so
see
far a gift.
Evanston keeping on pace and keeping this neck and neck.
What is it that you said? Whatever you can do, I can do better. Evanston showing exactly that. Defensive rounds have been a hot commodity in overtime. And we see 2 back-to-back. Right when Independence had a chance to close this out, now they're on their defense once more. The B side, well, Evanston, it didn't work for them on their attack side, but they're thinking, well, hey, this is looking pretty good. Let's give it a try.
I know we're a little bit late to this one. For parents and Falcons wondering, I mean, this is just going to go back and forth until somebody wins 2 in a row. And Red, oh, Red! 3 for Red here. Prowler and Lockdown. Everybody's gonna flood through, and wow, everything unfolds just at once.
Opening the floodgates, I tell you. Red powering Evanston to yet another round. Excuse me, Independence. At this point, don't know who is who.
I mean, Indy's the one in the lead right now. You know, back on attack. Or back in the first half, Indy losing 7-5, swapping over to defense. They pull it back to overtime and fighting from the back foot all throughout these second overtime rounds. But this is back-to-back chances now that Indy have an attacking side to hopefully win this one out on the other side. Evanston got to do it again.
Crash getting a lot of space there towards Rubble. Just taking all of that information, or more denying it on the opposition, ensuring that Evanston gonna have to play a dangerous game of jump spotting and shoulder peeking. In the meantime, C Mound, all theirs. Same for B main.
Ball coming back.
Neek, Krish, Chow, 3 separate kills, but when the dust settles, it is going to be Evanston leading this round in lives. Losing out on that Killjoy and Breach is going to make it very, very difficult to take this C site.
They've given up the space that they had gathered over at A and instead working C. What a call. 3 players here for Evanston.
Right one. Gonna be 3 versus 3. Curly Fry runs right on in. Finds the first one. Jay Dizzy in the back. Only good for 1. Reckless is here, but here comes the showstopper. No idea where the fate is. And Reckless wants to blow it all up. No showstopper in the hands of a fade, but all you need is a Vandal and timing.
Overtime.
All I know is that the show certainly is not over. Not after that. Reckless, how many times has he delivered in critical moments? It's not necessarily the crazy, flashiest plays. Not the biggest of numbers. Neek on 34. Reckless, 10 frags below them. But the key kills, the biggest moments, that's when Reckless has been delivering.
When you ask, they step up. And it seems like no matter what Evanston faces in when it comes to adversity, they always want to answer right back on their defense. Now, quick push over towards B. They're only 1 out of 3. 1 for 3 in chances at the
Spike
site.
planted.
Can they hold on this time?
And the retake, once again, set into motion. So committed to the site. The way they approach this is about taking the fights early, and those fights haven't been working out.
Oh, knee tucked away. Punch two. Jay Dizzy able to continue to keep this one competitive, but time is ticking away, and the reposition coming out from Waterfall. Jay Dizzy is in a place where you can win this round single-handedly, and Stormtroop now against the clock, against the numbers. 70 HP. and no idea what to do next. Jay Dizzy finds 3, and Evanston have their chance once more.
Switching sides.
There we go. Finally, the B site singing for them. You said it's not been ideal. It's not been so successful for this Evanston squad over at that B site. Well, this time they find the positioning, that waterfall's position especially, so impactful. We've seen how many times the round won from that position. The timeout called. Krish.
And I mean,
Looking-
B always tends to be one of those sites, Vincent, that it really takes one player to be in such an influential position where you can catch some timing on some members. And
Yeah.
Neek right there, you see, tucked away in a corner, so much attention on the rest of the team. Neek goes unnoticed, and a 2-piece that just allows Jay Dizzy to outlive the rest over towards Waterfall.
There.
Exactly. And just taking a moment to appreciate how there was 2 phases to that defense. So many times for Evanston, it's been so all or nothing. That's been the way they've approached the hold against the retake. In the post plant, it's all been about taking the fights aggressively. When they did that early and then waited back, playing the 2v2 a lot more passively, that is the adjustment that gave them success.
There.
When you look at championships in Valorant, everything comes with a little bit of luck. Well, we've seen our fair share with many individuals throughout this game. Neek just getting a taste in that last. But again, Evanston, the number 3 seed heading into this one versus the number 2 seed of Indy, with a chance to upset them here in overtime once again. A-Link's going to be open. Curly finds the first blood. That's onto Reckless, and it doesn't seem like Chow wants to let it go. Headshot. Minimal damage, though, onto Krish. Krish. Trying to run away. The door's going to be open. Chow head on a swivel. The turret. A 3K from Chow. And this could be it. Krish alongside Red. Last chance to stay alive. Red in a 1 versus 2. Oh, sorry. Krish in a 1 versus 2. Both members going to be here. Swings on out. They line up, but P. Killa's going to be sending Evanston into the grand finals.
Massive moves there at the end. It was all going right for Independence. They had all of C, but they lose the spike at the last moment, and it cannot be recovered. Oh my goodness. By the way, Neek ending on 36 frags,
Wow.
Nim 35. A dominant scoreline from that individual. The Omen plays just so impressive. But I think that, as much as this is, on paper, a little bit of an upset with Evanston, our 3rd seed, going through, I think that well-deserved. They fought hard, and they fought long for that victory. They had so many chances, and they might have blown a couple of them, but when it mattered, they delivered.
Again, I mean, you say it right there. They had so many chances, and I think that's what makes this so definitive for Evanston. It's not like they clutched up, all throughout this game to just stay alive. It was Indy on the back foot this whole map. The number 2 seed just getting dominated at times by some of these individual players. Neek having so many moments there, like you said, 36 and 24, 13 assists coming out of this Omen, really doing it all. But you look across the board, nobody really, I'd say, out of this game at all. No one player kind of down and out of Lotus. Everybody having their moments, everybody showing up, and 16, 18 a game going the way of Evanston for the players, who may be walking away here at Indy Knights. Definitely heartbreaking to lose here on Lotus, Vincent, but you went out with absolute glory.
Absolutely. And with that is our first semifinal done and dusted, with Evanston taking their ticket to the Grands. We got another semifinal up next. That's going to be Carmel up against New Albany. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. Unfortunately, we're going to take a short break before we do get there. Before we get to that, though, I do want to say a quick shout out to League OS and their college portal as well, helping connect students with opportunities in collegiate esports programs through smart search and safe messaging. You can learn more over at portal.leagueos.gg and get involved over there. It's a fantastic tool that is changing the way that things work from the high school to collegiate pipeline. So make sure to head over to portal.leagueos.gg to find out some more. Seymour.
Yeah, of course. Big shout out to League OS. Show them some love for putting on this grand tournament here in our Scholastic Champs. But as Vincent hinted to, semifinal number 2 coming up after this quick break.